All right, quite a few Dynasty relevant players have new homes.
That's right.
Here in 2022. So we need to talk about this. New homes, same production. Will some of these players be better or worse in their new situations?
Who knows?
Now, to be clear, this isn't a video where Badake and I both, these are players that we chose and we wanted to give takes on. We both decided on this list together.
Yes.
And we decided these are players that we want to bring awareness about, whether we think they will be better or worse off in their new homes. So I just want to clarify on that. This is a list that we came up with together. So I'll talk about the first player on our list, which is Tyreek Hill. And obviously he goes from Kansas City to Miami to South Beach. I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
Snake.
Let's look at his production in 2021. 111 receptions, 160 targets almost, 1,239 yards and 9 touchdowns. He finished as a wide receiver 6. So goes to Miami. I don't think there's any way I can sit here and tell you that he's going to improve going from Miami to from Kansas City to Miami, from Mahomes to Tua. And we are big Tua believers on this channel.
That's
so
correct.
Let me give you my prediction. I predict that he will be a top 15 wide receiver. I don't think there's top 5 upside. I'm struggling with top 10. I settled on top 15. And let me just explain. Number one, you don't improve when you go from Mahomes to Tua. You're going to see a graphic on the screen right now. I'm looking at the 2021 stats and efficiency between Mahomes and Tua here. Pass attempts per game, Mahomes had 9 more per game. 9 more pass attempts per game. How about pass yards per game? Mahomes he had over 80 yards extra per game through the air. How about deep ball attempts? Mahomes was 4th in the NFL. Tua was 30th in the NFL. Pace of play, Mahomes 4th, Tua 23rd. Accuracy rating, this is where, we start to see Tua, you can see some of his strengths. Mahomes is 1st in accuracy rating, but Tua was 3rd. And by the way, accuracy rating according to Player Profiler, they're a very reliable source, love them. How about red zone accuracy rating? Now you see Tua gets a little bit of an edge here, 6th to 2nd. In deep ball accuracy rating,
oh boy,
Mahomes was 20th.
Why not Tua?
Tua was 6th.
Why not Tua?
So what we have to keep in mind here, though, like we said before, is let's look at the deep ball attempts. Mahomes threw the 4th most in the NFL. Tua threw the 30th most in the NFL. So less volume probably makes it easier to hit on those attempts that you make. Mahomes is more willing to throw the ball, so I think that is volume related. But still, we are pro Tua on this channel, and we saw things that we liked from Tua last year. We think he's going to consistently improve. So this is not an anti-Tua take. It's Mahomes is an alien. He's a unicorn. He is out of this world as a talent. So you don't improve when you lose him as your quarterback, okay?
Right.
You have to set some more healthy expectations for Tyreek Hill. The other thing I was going to say is let's talk about Mike McDaniels. He's the head coach here. Don't forget, last couple of years, he was the offensive coordinator over there in San Francisco.
Right.
Now he's the head coach here in Miami. Last year, San Francisco threw the ball the 2nd fewest times of any team in the NFL, okay? And that was a very successful offense. They were 1 dropped interception away from a Super Bowl appearance, okay? So will he try and replicate that in Miami? I don't know. He's signing every single running back that you possibly can.
Gosh.
So I think, all these things considered, the downgrade to Tua, no disrespect, the success we've seen Mike McDaniels have with a very specific offense, I do think we have to maybe limit expectations. If I look at his long-term outlook, he's 28 years old, Tyreek is. He has a 4-year, $120 million contract. Based on his talent, the target share that I do believe both he and Jalen Waddle will demand, I think they're safe. But I view Tyreek as a top 15 wide receiver from here on out. That's the kind of range I have for him. I no longer have a top 5 target, for him as a finish.
Yeah, it's very interesting with Tyreek moving. I predicted it, not jokes. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm interested to see what this looks like. I really hope it doesn't hurt Waddle, but I think that is the case.
I think Waddle's more safe. We had a buy or sell on Waddle.
Yeah, I think
you guys can check on the channel, but
100%. It's just it can go either way, and that's what's so scary about this.
The way Waddle 1 feels safer to me in this offense than how Tyreek 1 in
Yeah,
Kansas City.
I
So
agree.
it's easier to envision.
All right, let's go to Kansas City with Juju Smith-Schuster. He goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, signs a 1-year deal there. Now he's with Patrick Mahomes, probably the best quarterback, if you believe, maybe the second best quarterback outside of Josh Allen. However you want to place that. Obviously, Juju missed pretty much the whole season, missed 12 games this past year with that shoulder injury. Obviously, he was with the Steelers this past year and Big Ben trying to do a last little hurrah. But obviously, he is taking over, at least at the moment. We expect him to be taking over that Tyreek Hill role. And we did another video.
Well, at least the wide receiver 1.
The wide receiver 1, exactly, in the offense. And I'm not sure which video is going to be out first. But I did do a little take on Skyy Moore and then kind of what Juju Smith can be. And now that I'm doing Juju, I think it's going to be very, very similar. So I'm not sure which one is coming out first. So bear with me. If you have seen that one, it's going to be very similar. Okay? Okay. So Juju, this is the way I envision this offense. I said this last time. Wide receiver 1, it's probably going to be Juju. It can go either way, either in the slot or the outside. Wide receiver 2, Skyy, 3, Harmon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Once again, what was this team looking for? A wide receiver, a wide receiver 2, but now Tyreek leaves. They have a new wide receiver 1. Juju Smith is here. Okay, let's look at the targets. The target share. What is Juju stepping into? He is taking 9.2 targets per game. That was what Tyreek was averaging per game. 9.3 targets per game. That is a lot of targets. That is wide receiver 1 numbers. Tyreek Hill for the past 3-4 years, I guess, since Patrick Mahomes came on board, he was always a top 8 wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver. He was the number 1 guy all the time. Okay, there's no doubt about it. So the way I envision this is that surely one guy leaves, another guy steps in. He should be taking the role. He should be a top 8, a top 5 wide receiver. Okay,
Juju,
yes. He should be. I'm not saying he will be. If you just plug and play. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe. With all the numbers that Tyreek was getting, I do believe Juju could be a top 10 finish. Okay? I wrote a little poem. If you know, you know. The Juju I see. Okay?
Oh, God.
I see 2018 Juju that finished top 8 wide receiver. I see 2018 Juju that has the 4th most targets among wide receivers. Right? I see 2018 Juju that is having a revitalization in 2022. I see Juju finishing as a top 8 wide receiver in 2022. Once again, this is very bold. Obviously, it's only 1-year contract. And maybe I'm going to shoot myself in the foot. But, hey, we're having fun. Right? If this is really going to happen, if he is really going to be taking the Tyreek Hill role, why wouldn't he finish the top 10 wide receiver? That's actually a question for you.
You want me to answer that?
It's actually
he's not taking the Tyreek Hill role.
Who is?
That's as simple as it is. No one is. You don't replace Tyreek Hill with Juju. You don't replace Tyreek Hill.
Can you replace
with Skyy Moore?
Can you replace the targets?
He's not gonna get over 9 targets a game. Juju will not get 9 targets per game. No way.
7 targets per game. Can he finish top 10?
That is no. He can't finish top 10 if he gets 7 targets per game. That's like a wide receiver 2, which, I think wide receiver 15 is realistic.
Like I said, this is very bold. We're just having fun here. But to be completely honest, I do see him getting a better production from what he did this past year.
I think he's going to be better.
Not this past year, but just in general. He is going to have a better production. He's playing with one of the best offenses, one of the best quarterbacks he's ever played with. He's finally, if we are correct, if he's going to stay in the slot, he's finally going to have that true slot receiver where it's only him, Skyy Moore, and Tyreek. Once again, just having fun. He only signed a 1-year contract. So if he does stay here for long term, maybe it's a little bit more realistic down the road. If he could finish as a top 10, if we see more consistency. But hey,
I think he's going to be better. I just
100%.
I just don't know that a top 8 finish is really realistic to tell people.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wrote a little poem. I thought it was fun. Okay. It was just really a really bold moment.
Such an artist. Wow.
I know. Thank you. I mean, I tried.
All right. I'm going to talk about Christian Kirk next. You can see his production in 2021, 77 receptions, finished as a wide receiver 26. He absolutely got overpaid to land in Jacksonville. I don't think there's any questions about that.
Yep.
The question that we have to answer is, will he improve his numbers? And I'll say, firstly, I don't feel like it's a very helpful exercise to compare Kyler and Trevor Lawrence at this point in their careers. Okay. Trevor was probably in the worst scenario of any quarterback last year, both with the team around him and the personnel. Like I said, if your head coach is getting twerked on at a Chili's, you got a problem. More importantly, I think Kirk is going to thrive on targets, not efficiency here in Jacksonville. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the opportunities that he's probably going to see in Jacksonville. Last year, Trevor Lawrence in 2021, 7th most pass attempts, 8th in pace of play, and 4th in money throws. What is a money throw? Well, that is a pass that requires exceptional skill or athleticism in clutch moments. So there is good that we've seen from Trevor Lawrence. But let's talk about what was bad. Yards per attempt, he was 32nd in the NFL. You can see why they need a field stretcher like a Christian Kirk. Pressured throws, he had the 2nd most pressured throws. They improved the O-line, which is good. Interceptable passes, he had the most interceptable passes in the NFL. Hopefully he'll have more time. I think obviously if he was the 2nd most pressured quarterback on his throws, it makes sense that he was throwing a lot of interceptable passes. I think that's just a good correlation to make.
Right.
So I think there was huge improvements that were needed, and I think they made improvements. They overpaid for almost every player, but I think there was huge improvements that were made. And if we look at the Jags targets per game in 2021, you can see them on the screen now. Marvin had 7, and everyone else was kind of just thrown in there. Okay. And the way I view this offense, the contract that they gave Christian Kirk, all of these wide receivers are now going to be moving down as far as what their role will be within the offense. Kirk will be the alpha as far as target share goes. So I envision a 7.5 target share, 7.5 targets per game for a guy like Christian Kirk. So he's going to get more targets, I believe, this year, but he will be less efficient than he was in Arizona. So the way I predict Christian Kirk this year, I actually think he's going to have a very similar season when it comes to where he finishes. If he plays all 17 games, I still think top 25 to 30 is where he will finish. More targets, same amount of receptions, but so it'll be less efficient, right? More targets, same amount of receptions that he had last year, less yardage. So for me, I think Kirk is going to be just fine. You know, I don't think he's going to finish top 12 or anything, but I do think he has a top 25 finish here in Jacksonville upcoming. So for me, I look at his contract. He's 25 years old, 4 years on the contract. I think he's a wide receiver 3 for the rest of his contract. You know, I think he could lose targets as well if they bring in another wide receiver.
Imagine paying
so
a
that's
wide
the way I
receiver.
view him.
Imagine paying a wide receiver 3 all that money.
They had to, though. I mean, you know, no one else was going to come to Jacksonville, and they had to improve. So, you know, it sucks, but they had to pay him that kind of money.
All right, my last guy on the list that has a new home with new production. It maybe people aren't going to, you know, be excited about this one, but I think it's very interesting. We both wanted to talk about this. We both wanted to bring this, and it was Hayden Hurst. This was a guy that we're thinking in, you know, deeper leagues, maybe in a dynasty startup that you have. He's probably even available on your waiver wire right now that you should consider picking up. Okay, CJ Uzmazada, who's your mama, is gone. He's with the New York Jets, and this team, he went to the Cincinnati Bengals. He's playing with Joe Burrow and everyone in the crew, right? Yeah. CJ, who's your mama, had the opportunities last year. Why? Whether that was because, you know, T was hurt, maybe Tyler Boyd was hurt, maybe Chase, you know, was getting double team or whatever the case may be. But the way I envision this moving into this season for Hayden Hurst is, look, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be, in my opinion, a massive guy, a guy that's going to bring you, you know, be a top 5, top 8 tight end. But I do believe he could have sneaky value weeks in and weeks out, especially depending on what's going to happen with Chase moving forward. Obviously, there was a lot of talks about Chase moving in this past season. He was dropping balls, and then, you know, the efficiency wasn't there, what was happening in preseason, and then the season comes and he just explodes. And I don't think they really took him serious at all. in the season.
A lot of teams probably will game plan differently.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing. A lot of teams are going to be game planning different for Jamar Chase. They're probably going to double team him. We're going to see a lot of creative things on the defense where it's going to leave other things open, not just for Hayden Hurst, obviously for T. Higgins, for everyone. Okay. But I think this is what is great about this, because it's not going to cost you anything. It's not going to hurt your roster. No one really has him on your team. You know why? Because he's only owned 7% on sleeper leagues. If you're on sleeper, we love that. We love that app. Why not go try and pick him up right now? Because he could, in my eyes. CJ finished tight end 19 last year. There was a couple glimpses where he finished tight end 1 throughout the season. He was averaging 7.5 points per game, which is good for somebody that doesn't cost you anything. That is not going to take a lot of space on your bench. Why not go pick this guy up? Why not go pick up Hayden Hurst right now? I mean, absolute ceiling, tight end. I feel like tight end 14 is absolute ceiling. I think floor is a good. Same thing with CJ, the way he played last year, tight end 19. I think that's good. There was 2 or 3 instances where CJ finished as a top 1 tight end, the number 1 tight end throughout the weeks. Throughout weeks 1 through 10, he was always in the top 10 range of tight ends. Obviously, tight ends are very up and down. It's a 1-year contract. Sure. See what happens. Pick him up. He's on your waiver wires. Maybe it's a throw-in player in a trade that you're trying to make a trade and somebody has Hayden Hurst. You know what? Throw in Hayden Hurst. Why not?
Yeah.
So
I like Hayden. I like him, and I think I would argue that as far as being a complete tight end, I think he's a better tight end than CJ is. So I would say tight end 14 isn't crazy. I think that's the upside, but I don't think it's crazy to say that.
I agree.
And it's a good offense that he's a part of.
Yeah.
So these are 4 wide receivers that we wanted to talk about. We might have disagreed on one in particular.
Once again, just having fun. More realistic. If you really want to bring into it, 15. 14. I feel comfortable with that. But I think that's possible. I think that's fun. I think wide receiver taking those.
Yeah, it's fun, but I don't think it's realistic. Like you have to keep in mind that means that there are only 7 wide receivers. How many wide receivers can we think of right now that we would put ahead of Juju?
For sure. But I mean, there's so many wide receivers that we weren't expecting to finish as a top maybe 10 or finish in the top 15 or whatever the case may be. There's always that one outlier maybe. And that's the thing, would Juju be the outlier if he did finish with the expectation now that Tyreek's gone?
Maybe, but I said, Tyreek is not going to be, or Juju will not be prioritized like Tyreek. He just won't be.
I get it. I get that for sure. But yeah, it's all love. More realistic, top 15. Don't go too crazy on me in the comments.
Comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts are on this list.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLandFam.